We are working on the Connect 4 project from the YByte Python curriculum available at www.ybyte.in. Having looked at the diagonal 1 winners, in fact, now we are ready to complete the whole, let's say, the process. The fourth winner that remains to be done is the diagonal 2 winner. But by now, we are very, very familiar with what we are trying to do here. Essentially, if I look at all the diagonal winners sloping downwards, there are again 12 possibilities because remember, I need 4 in a row, so the shaded regions get out. And in fact, if you think carefully and you look at this carefully, you realize that all the, let's say, the possible victors of four, winners of four, start from within this rectangle. It's very, very similar to the, let's say, the diagonal one case, just that the rectangle is different and the indexing would change. Other than that, it's exactly the same thing. We will extract out a sub list from the board and, we will run our test. Um, in fact, that's what I'm trying to do. So remember, my rows here are between 0, 1, and 2. That's because of this 0, 1, and 2, because it must start from somewhere here. And the columns are 0, 1, 2, 3, and that's exactly what I'm doing. Of course, this indexing changes because now I'm looking at the diagonal that slopes downwards. Once again, to understand this, let's look at one example. For example, let's say I take this, so starting at 0, 0, my next item is 1, 1, 2, 2, and 3, 3, which means I'm increasing both on JJ and KK. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do over here. So I get back to my code here and I just basically copy, let's say, the diagonal 1 winner code. I call this, let's say, diagonal 2 winner. And here, let's say, just say negative slope diagonal winners. And remember, the JJ has to be, basically the rows have to be between 0 and 2. So I just make it 0 to 3 in steps of 1, and KK is perfectly fine. However, what will change is this indexing. So JJ plus CNT, KK plus CNT. And other than that, in fact, the code is ready, really ready, right? Let's test this. Now, when I, let's say, display the board, of course, it's all zeros, but let's say I do create a diagonal winner. Let's create it, let's say, somewhere in the middle here, right? So starting from, let's say, this cell. So I just go and say board, for example, 1, 1 is, say, 1. Then I want to do board, let's say, 2, 2 is also 1. Board, let's say 3, 3 is 1. And finally, I have board 4, 4 is also, let's say, equal to 1. So if I were to display the board right now, I can see a clear, let's say, negative sloping diagonal winner appearing. If I were to check for this winner, so let's say check diagonal, say 2 winner with the value of 1, that returns me a true. I try the same thing as value of 2, that's a false. Let's just do a quick sanity check. If I were to run, let's say diagonal 1 winner right now with value of 2, that is also a false because clearly there ain't any, let's say, diagonal 1 winner. So we can create one more example. Let's say I create an example, let's say starting from the very first row. This time I just go and say, look, my board, let's say 0 and, so 0 and 1 is, say, for example, say 2. My board, let's say 1 and 2 is also 2. Board, let's say 2 and say 3 is 2. And finally, my board, say 3 and 4 is, let's say, also 2. So if I were to display the board right now, indeed, I see a diagonal winner appearing for 2. And if I check for winner, let's say for 2, so diagonal 2 winner 2, that indeed gives me a true. And that's exactly what I was looking for. I hope this has been clear. Once we get the hang of this, this is really quite similar to the other diagonal, which itself is quite similar to the other, say, horizontal and vertical. The important bit is the way the loops are set up and the way this indexing is happening, right? So think about it carefully, go through it slowly. Happy to discuss in case you have questions. Once again, applying concepts, building activities makes programming interesting, and that is how we learn programming at YByte. Look at our website, www.ybyte.in. You will find that we have many, many, many activities that you can work on and hone your programming skills. Take care. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.